About three things I was absolutely certain. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how dominant that part may be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. Hi, my name is Anna Peters, and most of you already know what I'm going to be talking about today. Yes, I'm one of those crazy obsessed Twilight fanatics. No matter what your feelings towards Twilight may be, it is a topic that must be discussed. You can hardly use any form of media without hearing about this series. Twilight has made a tremendous cultural impact on not only the U.S., but across the world. Today I want you to fully grasp the series by understanding the story behind Twilight and the extent of its popularity. Before Twilight became a pop culture fad, it was simply an idea in the head of a woman named Stephenie Meyer. Lev Grossman of Time magazine wrote in an article titled Stephenie Meyer, the New J.K. Rowling. In this article, Grossman describes the beginnings of Twilight as, on the morning of June 1st, 2003, Meyer woke up from a dream of a beautiful woman talking to a beautiful, sparkling man in a sunlit meadow. The man was a vampire. They were in love, and he was telling the girl how hard it was to keep from killing her. The young woman in this dream would soon become Isabella Swan, a 17-year-old high school student who moves to Forks, Washington to live with her dad, Charlie. Forks High School is where Bella meets Edward Cullen, the vampire from Stephenie Meyer's dream. Although in the beginning Edward avoids Bella because he's attracted to the scent of her blood, the two quickly fall in love. In the second book, Edward is forced to leave Forks to protect Bella's safety, allowing for Jacob Black, a Clut Indian and werewolf, to enter the scene. Needless to say, Jacob falls head over heels for the devastated Bella. Eclipse, the third book, is based on the love triangle between the three characters. Breaking Dawn, the last book, ends with a happy ending for all of them. Twilight was published on October 5th, 2005, with only 75,000 copies, but just 2 years later, Eclipse was published with a big 1 million copies. Of course, something this popular would eventually receive attention from Hollywood. In 2007, Catherine Hardwicke received the official screenplay for Twilight. The movie brought in $69 million in opening weekend, which is the highest grossing film directed by a woman. Chris Wise, director of New Moon, David Slade, director of Eclipse, and Bill Condon, director of Breaking Dawn Part 1, also broke countless records like largest opening in the amount of theaters and the highest grossing film for a midweek premiere. It is not only the books and movies that are breaking records, however. U.S. Today's best-selling books list of 2009 had Meyer rating in the top 5 spots, a feat that had yet to be accomplished. U.S. Today marvels at Meyer's ability to not only make her own fiction popular, but make the vampire genre in general popular. 16 titles on the best-selling list were vampire-related, and all were published after Myers began the modern vampire fascination. Twilight is not only breaking records, but it is changing the way people live today. In a video by Dana Ward for Clever TV titled Twilight Baby Names on the Rise, states that Twilight names are changing how people are naming their children. Cullen rose 300 spots in 2009. Isabella is the #1 girl's name, and Jacob is #1 for the boys. Bella, short for Isabella, is the 58th in popularity. Not only changing how we name our children, but Twilight is changing how we vacation. The books are creating a desire to visit the real Forks, Washington, bringing the sleepy town out of hiding. Just in the first year that people began to visit, 69,000 people passed through the one-stoplight town, compared to the 6,000 pre-Twilight years. You could say you were from Forks and people would just stare, said Marcia Bingham, director of the Chamber of Commerce in Forks, in New York Times magazine. Now when they hear where you're from, they all are breathless. Forks is a small lodging town that, thanks to Stephanie Meyer, is turning into a tourist destination. An article, Twilight Tourists Flock to Tiny Forks, Washington, Mayor Reed shows appreciation and states Twilight was a much-needed boost. It was probably the most important asset to our community as we were dealing with the decline of the timber industry. Mayor Reed also says that the income in Forks from the hotel tax has been up 15% more in just this year. In conclusion, Stephanie Meyer's dream of Edward, Jacob, and Bella has turned into an international phenomenon, breaking countless records and even changing the way we live.